now that it's all trimmed, I'm just going to pop. Oh my gosh, there's the frog! There's the frog again! Woo! Woo, woo, woo! Oh my gosh! That makes me so happy! It's cold, it's windy, it's February. What else can you expect? Now, ordinarily, I would be inside having a warm cuppa and thinking about seeds I'm going to start sowing soon and garden plans, etc. But I have a very urgent task that I need to do here at the allotment garden today, and that is cleaning out my garden pond. Now, the reason that it's so urgent is that a friend messaged me last week, and according to him and his family, who have a garden pond with frogs in it, the frogs are going to start spawning very soon. February 18th, to be exact. And I find that a little bit funny. It's a little bit, it's almost like a salmon spawning. The frogs come back on pretty much the same day every year to their pond. So I need to make my pond hospitable to the eggs that are going to be laid in there and the tadpoles and the future frogs that I hope will make my garden pond their home. And that includes cleaning out all of the weed that's inside the pond. So there's lots of green, gooey slime, and it's in there because there's a lot of organic matter in there. So it'll be vegetation that's fallen into the pond and started to decompose, and it will be poo from animals, just all kinds of gunk. And so it's a very non-glamorous task that I have today, but it needs to be done. So that's why I'm here, and that's what we're going to be doing. Ooh, the wintry showers have arrived. Well, I'm here in front of my pond, and I've got the essentials that I'll need for the first step of cleaning, which are some rubber gloves, a rake, and some hot coffee. So the reason that you need to clean out your ponds and make sure that there isn't any choking weed inside is that it can basically strangle the entire pond as far as oxygen is concerned, nutrients, and it just makes a very inhospitable place for other wildlife, for frogs, for fish, etc. So I've ordered some barley straw in the meantime, and what I'll be doing very soon is submerging some barley straw in the center of my pond. And what that does is, as it decomposes, it releases natural chemicals which combat infestations of pondweed and scum. But it takes time for it to decompose, and so what I need to do right now is to clear as much as I can out of the pond and then set it aside. All of this dried vegetation, if it goes back into the pond, it will decompose and provide nutrients in the same way that it would if you compost it. And that is what a lot of the pondweed is feeding off of. So this excess foliage from these flag irises, from the leaves, the trees above are shedding, for the flowers that this alkanet shed in. Going to toss that all aside, and if there's anything that's alive in it, it will hopefully find its way back into the pond. So I've taken the largest pieces of vegetation out of here. It's mainly the browned and dead bits of the flag iris, and it's pretty clear to me that I have two main types of pondweed in my pond. So the first, I think it's called duckweed. It's just floating on the top. It looks like little pieces of leaves, little green leaves. And then the other weed is a kind of stringy algae, and it's little filaments that are within the pond itself. And that's what I'm most worried about, is that sure the duckweed, hopefully that's the correct name for it, it floats at the top and it's easy to skim off, but that scum underneath, that is probably what is the biggest problem in my pond. So to get it out, I'm going to try using my garden rake. Let's see if this works. Oh yes, oh dear. Woo! Well, it works. I've removed a lot of the gunk that was in the pond, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to get the little bits. So I'm going to have to bail out this water. Needed to do it anyway, but I hope that it will capture as much of this duckweed as possible. As I just poured that first bucket load into one of my beds, I noticed the color of the water. It is bright green. There are so many little algae living in this water. Really need that barley straw to arrive and for it to do its work. I'm keeping an eye out for anything that's living in here. So far it looks just like algae. No sooner did I see that, but I spotted a tadpole from last year. Go on, little guy. Tadpoles, in case you didn't know, they can linger around in their tadpole state for a very long time. And there are apparently some overwintering in my pond, which is great for the frogs. And it also means that my pond hasn't been too inhospitable with all this weed, but I still want to clean it out, so I'm going to be ultra careful and just try to skim the surface now. I'm now refilling the pond with water, and it's just occurred to me that I can now skim some more of this duckweed off the top. So I'm going to continue doing that, and as this fills up with even more water, it'll push it up, and that way I can scoop it off without getting those little tadpoles. As for this Marsh Marigold, I'm just going to trim it all down and clean the pot as best as I can. There's a little robin hopping around, and no doubt he'll be finding some goodies in all of this. Now that it's all trimmed, I'm just going to pop. Oh my gosh, there's the frog! There's the frog again! Woo! Woo, woo, woo! Oh my gosh! That makes me so happy! Oh my gosh! There's something coming out of its bum? I wonder if that's like the precursor of egg spawn. Oh, it's gone underneath the rock here. Oh, I'm so pleased. Well, with it behind the rock, I know that it's safe to put the Marsh Marigold back into the pond. So I'm just gonna settle them right here. Brilliant. Well, I think it's safe to say that I'm pretty excited about that frog. Anyway, the pond is all cleared, it's ready to go, and hopefully we'll see some frog spawn in the pond very, very soon. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next week here on the Lovely Greens YouTube channel.